Hey everybody, back with another tutorial. I'm going to do a Mexican soup that I've eaten since I was a child, but I'm going to do like a low carb keto version. So let me show you how I make mine. It's really easy. I'm going to start off here how we're going to do the broth of it. So I have a Dutch oven here filled with water, not all the way because when you put your chicken it's going to rise because of the volume that was added. This is what I use. I use a frying chicken that I'm gonna, and the way that I prep it is next to the thing so there's not too much drippage and mess. I have it in like a cake pan, so when I open up this plastic, the blood and juices don't spill. I mean, they're contained, you know what I mean? So you're gonna need a frying chicken. You're also gonna need for the broth, bay leaves, peppercorns. I'm going to use half the onion, a bouquet of cilantro, and then some salt, but of course. So let's go ahead and open this first. And when you're making the broth, you use the whole chicken. Don't skin it. Just use all the skin, all the bones, because all that stuff adds like flavor to your broth, and that's what makes it like super tasty. And I find that doing it this way, I get like the best tasting broth rather than just boiling chicken breasts or even drumsticks. You get a much more intense flavor in your broth when you do it this way. So let me move this aside. See how high my water is? So you gotta be real careful not to spill it because that's already nasty chicken juice. So if you have like too much water, just get a cup nearby and like a little measuring cup, and then just kind of lower it a little bit by removing some of the water. Just do it this way. I don't recommend you trying to like dump a little out over the sink. It just, anything to not squirt chicken juice anywhere would be wonderful. Okay, so now here I'm going to turn up the heat. So I start on mine, I start on a 3 because this is really gonna take almost all day. So let's say if you want this for lunch, do it really early in the morning. Like let's say you eat lunch at 1 o'clock, do this at 8 o'clock. Or even, I find that like the next day, like when I warm this up the next day, it's even more tasty. I guess because it's had even more time to marinate. I'm going to put 2 bay leaves in this to marinate in its flavors. So like I may or may not eat this today, but I mean, it'll be even more intense for tomorrow. I'm also going to take all of the cilantro. Now this all won't be in the dish at the end of it all, but you need all of it. I think it makes a really nice flavor. And then just put it, it'll wilt, it'll go down. It'll go down right now. Yeah, like once it starts cooking, this will kind of wilt down and it's not going to be a big issue. Also my peppercorns. Again, once we get to the part where we're kind of cleaning out the broth, like getting rid of the extra cilantro and stuff, you can try, and I try and do this, but I don't get it best of it, but I'm putting in about a tablespoon of peppercorns. I try to remove these when we're cleaning up the broth later, after we remove the chicken. And then lastly, I'm going to cut up this onion. Well, not lastly, I still have to put my salt. What am I doing? So here's my rule of thumb for salt. You don't want to put too much salt, although right now if you make a mistake and you'd end up doing that, you're in an okay state right now at the beginning, because once this starts boiling and it's already going by like 3 hours or so, obviously the water is going to evaporate and you need to add more water later. So if you add more water later, it'll dilute it a little more. And if you cook it even longer, same rule applies. You'll have to, you know, put more water in it. So this is what I do. Look at how I'm doing this. Look at my technique. So I kind of go up and down, back and forth. Let me do it one more time. That was 4 times, I believe. I will recount when I edit this video, but I believe that was 4 times, lightly going back and forth. Obviously, there'll be taste tests along the way. When the broth is done and you're about ready to clean out, when I mean clean out, like take out the peppercorns, take out the chicken, take out the cilantro, like this whole thing of cilantro, then you can taste it at that point. It should be safe to taste it, and then at that point you could say, okay, I actually need to add more salt. So that's how I gauge that. And then, like I said, I'm just gonna cut the onion in big chunks. I'm not gonna worry about doing little pieces. I'm just gonna cut it in half, and then like just in half again. 2 big chunks, throw it in there. Just let it simmer for about 2-3 hours or more, and we'll be back. When I come back, when the broth is ready to clean, I will tell you how much time has elapsed. All right, right now an hour and 6 minutes have passed. As you can see, there's like the fat and the white. So what I'm doing is I'm not, you know, there were some big chunks right now that I got, if you could see in here. I'm like straining them out, trying to get it as best as I can. My spoon sucks. I'm just trying to like just strain some of the fat, get rid of it. I got most of it right now, but it's not a lot, but just, you know, take it off, take it off. Why have all that fat? And then I managed to get some of my peppercorns in the process. So let me toss this out, but I'm at an hour and 6 minutes right now. All right, guys, we're back. I have taken it off the heat. I've kind of scooted it over. At this point, I started this at 12:57, and it's now 3:14. So it's about a little over 3 hours that this has been simmering or cooking on like a low heat. So now what we're gonna do is we're going to remove the chicken. So I have a little system here. So I scooted this over. So I have, over here I have 2 bowls. 1 bowl to take out the chicken and then like plop it in so I can kind of clean out the broth. And then the bowl way over here so I can shred it and put all the clean chicken in here, because I'm not gonna keep the skin or the bones at this point while I'm cleaning it. It is really hot. So like, again, this is why this dish kind of takes all day, not just because of the cooking time, because you also need to, oh shoot, see it was dripping. You also need to have time for the chicken to cool off so you can actually handle it and not burn your fingers. At this point also, I'm gonna take out this huge thing of cilantro. Take out your bay leaves too, we're not gonna need those. Cool, some of the peppercorn stuck to my chicken, so I don't gotta fish those out. So if you can, like here, I'm like, I can already clean it off. Here, I got a little trash can. Because I can peel off the skin with my tongs. But it is freaking hot. If I try and shred this with my fingers right now, my fingers are just gonna melt off. So while that's cooling off, I'm just gonna clean out. Remember I said we're not gonna keep, I like the onions to stay though. So I'm gonna keep the onions in here. And then some of the cilantro can stay. You don't gotta be, it doesn't have to be completely clean. But I mean, this huge bouquet that I have in here, it was just too much, you know what I mean? It's like some cilantro's good, but too much is just too freaking much, you know what I mean? Okay. And then now also, I'm going to taste the broth to see how am I doing on the salt. Kind of showed you my method right now, or earlier. It's perfect where it is, but darn, it's good where it's at. I'm gonna wait. Right now I'm gonna wait because it's a perfect consistency for my taste buds right now. But once I add in my vegetables and let that simmer for a little bit, when they get soft, I'm gonna taste it then to see, you know, because the vegetables, they might release some water and it like dilute it. So at that point I'll check it. But this is good. My little zigzaggy back and forth 4 times was enough salt. So let's go over to the vegetables now while this is cooling off. Okay, so here's my space. Excuse the cauliflower explosion. How you serve this rice is when you're done with it, and I'll show you, I'll have some lemons, I'll have some Spanish rice on the side, but since me and my husband are keto, I'm gonna make a Spanish cauliflower rice and then regular, like, you know, Mexican rice, arroz, or whatever you wanna call it, for the kids, since they eat rice. So so these are the things you're gonna need. If you're not on keto, there's a third ingredient missing that I didn't buy because I didn't see it at the store, which is a potato. You could throw in like 1 big potato and have it in a couple chunks. 1 big potato is really all you need for this soup. You start putting in too many potatoes, it gets too starchy and it just kind of takes away from the dish, like the chicken. So I dehulled, or whatever you call it, shelled or whatever, the corn. So I have 2 pieces of corn, although that's for my son, but it does leave a nice taste also. It adds to the flavor of the broth. So even if you're not keto and someone in your house is, if you're keto and someone in your house isn't, you can always just not eat the corn but keep it in there for the flavor. Also, another thing that's kind of a substitution, I'm gonna be using yellow squash in this, only because it was on a really good sale. Normally I would use another type of, like, it's called calabacitas, and I'll show you a picture of what that looks like right here. So you see it's kind of like greenish, but these will be fine too, that's all right. And then if you're also keto and you wanna have like a potato substitute, what I do when I can find it at the store is I use what's called a chayote, I don't know how to say it, it's a chayote squash. It's green, it looks like it has a puckered butt on one end, or chayote, or however you pronounce it. I'll show you a picture of that here. Now these squash I really like because to me it has the texture of a potato. Obviously not a potato because it's a squash, so it doesn't have the carbs, and it also absorbs like the flavors of whatever dish it's in, like a potato, like it's absorby. It's really cool. It's a darn shame the store didn't have it, so too bad on that. Now with this dish we want to have chunky vegetables. That's the thing with this. Here, I'm getting my bowl. Chunky vegetables. You never want to cut them, or at least in my life, the vegetables are always big and chunky. So see, I'm gonna have a carrot, like, and then, okay, you know, if you don't have big, huge carrots, you know, anything else is fine, baby carrots. But if you're able to get gigantic carrots like this, by all means get them, and then just cut them up as big and fat as you can. This is how my grandmother always made it. And not even my grandmother, just like any Mexican restaurant I go to here in El Paso, the soup always just has ginormous pieces of vegetables in it. And that's just how I've grown to be accustomed to it. So I'm gonna take my 2 squashes. I forgot to rinse them, here we go. Cut off the ends. And again, just make some big chunky cuts, it's fine. Because I mean, when you make a pot of soup like this, you're gonna have a lot of soup, so it's all good. Now on these carrots, I don't know, this is how I do it. I switch to a serrated knife, and I just kind of like make cuts like that, and then I can break it. That's how I do it. go. Once, so like I said, once my, come with me. So when, like I said, once my chicken is cooled off and I can actually handle it, then I will shred it. I'll take out all the bones, and I'm just gonna transfer like all the clean chicken, non-skin, non-bones to this bowl. And then now that I've cut, oh Jesus. So now that I've cut all my vegetables, I'm going to move my broth back on the stove, and I'm gonna turn up the heat again to low. And I'm gonna put all my vegetables in the water. Put all my vegetables in the water. I might even go a little bit higher than my low, just like low medium. And I'm just gonna let all these nice vegetables cook in the broth. And then by the time they're getting soft, I should be able to have handled and cleaned out my chicken, put the chicken back, let it simmer for a little bit longer, and then it should be ready to eat at that point. And again, during this halfway point while they're getting soft, taste the broth again after you see that the vegetables are kind of wilting, to see if at this point it was diluted and you need to put more salt. I let the vegetables cook for about 20-30 minutes, just constantly watching it, seeing that they're wilting. You will see a textural change obviously when they're cooked through. I shredded the chicken when I was able to handle it, put it back in the soup, let that cook for an additional 10 to 15 minutes, and then it was ready. As you can see, here is my cauliflower rice. It's Mexican rice, but it's keto friendly cauliflower. Great mind trick. You serve it alongside slices of lemon to squeeze into your soup, and it was absolutely delicious. If you have any questions on this recipe, please let me know. Thanks for watching. Bye.